we believe that autonomous mobility, just autonomous taxi platforms, forget drones and robots, but a mobility, and forget trucks too, that will deliver $8 to $10 trillion in revenue by 2030 globally.
So Tesla doing Uber?
Tesla doing autonomous Uber.
Autonomous Uber.
I'm talking about 8 to 10 trillion for the global market. That's everyone who gets.
And Tesla will lead that.
Tesla will lead it here in the United States. And here in the United States, when you think about, China is moving very quickly in this direction. I'm sure they will not let Tesla be in the lead there. It'll be another company. But in the United States, because transportation costs are so much higher here than they are in China, the value of this is going to be much higher in the United States.
Okay.
Right? So the 7 to 10
people will pay more here.
People will pay more.
Yes, agreed.
You know, if you've used Uber here in St. Pete,
that's all we do.
There you go. Yeah. Well, the prices have gone up dramatically here, as I'm sure they have in the rest of the world. So this need for an autonomous solution has increased dramatically.
You could pull the driver out of the car, but have the car do the same thing. That's a much better business than it is today.
And if you've been here for a little while, you'll see parking is a problem. You're in Uber, so maybe you don't see that. But in the autonomous world, right now, here in the United States, for every car in the U.S., there are 5 parking spaces.
Right.
Okay? With autonomous, you'll just need 1. Think about the real estate value that will unlock.
Right. Yeah, my car just sits in a spot 80% of the day, maybe
That's
more,
actually
90%.
95%.
Let's talk about Elon quickly. I know your fund has become associated with Tesla because you were one of the earliest to recognize the story there, and you made a lot of money for people being an investor in Tesla. What are your thoughts on the dedicated CEO for Twitter? Do you think that's meaningful for Tesla shareholders now that maybe they get more of his focus on some of the things that you're talking about? Is that something that you're excited about for the second half of the year?
Yeah, you mean for Tesla specifically or Twitter?
Well, I guess getting him away from the day-to-day Twitter stuff that he's doing and having him back focused on the future.
Well, as we've looked at Tesla's evolution here, it was critical that Elon be there on premise as they were scaling the Model 3.
You don't want him in San Francisco. Like the less time he spends at Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, it was in Fremont, which is close to San Francisco.
Okay.
He was sleeping on the floor, right?
Yes.
So he got that. That is, I would say, almost on automatic pilot. As they build more and more efficient factories with robotics and AI, the factories of the future, they're going to get more and more efficient and more competitive relative to other auto companies. So he's using his mind. And how, there may be things he's learning from AI and Twitter that he's going to bring back to the auto market and vice versa.
God, let's hope not. Yeah. So I want to ask you about the Cybertruck.
Yes.
This seems to me that it's going to be the next Tesla battleground. Now that a lot of the old battles are, have been won or lost. The predictions for the Cybertruck range from it's going to flop on day one to it's going to be one of the biggest selling things Tesla's ever done. I don't have any opinion at all. I don't follow it that closely. What do you think is going to happen? When is it supposed to happen? And are you baking that into any of your modeling?
Yeah. So we actually, Sam Corris.
You're going to drive one. Let's start with that.
I've actually thought about, I have a 3 and a Y. I don't really need anything else. But I've thought about it because I do think they're very cool. Sam Corris, who's our director of research for autonomous technology and robotics, just wrote a piece on the Cybertruck. And we think they're, given the costs that they're taking out of this part of the market, we think they're going to be highly competitive, as well as being competitive in terms of power and range. So Elon's very focused on costs, power, and range performance. So I think that a lot of analysts, they don't even have Cybertruck.
What does it compete with? Does it compete with like the smaller SUV or the pickup truck? I can't really decide what I think.
That's right, and that's exactly right. If you look at what the Model 3 has done, it has expanded the market. This or the Model S even, people have stretched because they want this, and they've actually enlarged certain segments of the market.
So it doesn't even really need to neatly fit into a category.
Right.
If it captures the consumer imagination and the wait list, gets populated, it could be its own category.
And, it's interesting. The Ford F-150 Lightning just increased its price from $45,000 to $60,000. We think the Cybertruck is going to come in below that. And again, with performance and range that we think is going to be highly competitive.
Tesla stock just reached its lowest level since May 17th of last year. So should you be worried as an investor? Tesla's price cuts are taking a toll on its margins, and slower production paired with price cuts set the stage for negative growth in 2024, and the competition is getting more serious, and Tesla needs to batten down the hatches. Tesla is still expensive even though the growth is gone for the growth stock as of now. Tesla stock closed at $175 a share on March 8th, which has been the lowest since May 17th of 2023, which eventually means Tesla went back to where it was a year before, when Tesla closed at $173.83. Tesla is down nearly 30% year to date, but it more than doubled in 2023. And even with last year's monstrous gain, it may surprise investors to learn that Tesla is actually lower today than it was 3 years ago, significantly underperforming the S&P 500 index during that period of time. And here's a look at where Tesla stands today and why the growth narrative is being challenged, and if the electric car stock is worth buying today. The biggest problem which Tesla faces right now is the China problem. Most companies with exposure to China are getting hit very hard right now, and Tesla and Apple are the two big ones, and both stocks are down double-digit percentages this year, and the electric vehicle demand has undergone a multi-year growth period but has been slow to start 2024. And in the first 10 months of 2023, Tesla grew its China EV market to 12%, but BYD takes the cake with a 27% market share. And other notable Chinese EV automakers including Li Auto, NIO and Xpeng. And Tesla simply doesn't have the pricing power it once used to, and now it is in a full-blown price war. And last week alone, Tesla cut prices even further. Tesla is taking the competition in China very seriously, which means that Tesla wants to come out ahead. And to quote CEO Elon Musk from the Q4 2023 earnings call, "Our observation is generally that the Chinese car companies are the most competitive car companies in the world, so I think they will have significant success outside of China depending on what kind of tariffs or trade barriers are established. And frankly, I think if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other companies in the world. And the competition is heating up around the world. Legacy automakers like Toyota Motors are having success with hybrids and are investing heavily in the battery EVs. And the full impact of those investments won't be felt for a few years from now. And virtually every major automaker has some sort of EV or hybrid program. Tesla has long depended on its first mover advantage, and over the last few years, Tesla has experienced extraordinary growth and proven that this advantage still has its value. But the first mover advantage is starting to erode. Tesla needs something more to maintain and keep the edge. And it remains to be seen if 5 years from now, Tesla will be able to stay ahead of the competition, because right now, all the advantage Tesla has is because it started out early and it has better margins and much better profitability than most companies. We should keep in mind that most companies are still struggling to make a profit, while Tesla is a very profitable company as of now. And it remains to be seen if 5 years from now, Tesla will still be able to stay ahead of the competition, and even more concerning, if the market will be willing to give the stock a premium valuation. And now coming to the second biggest problem which Tesla is facing, and falling margins and production volumes. Tesla's strategy centers around volume growth paired with strong margins to justify expanding manufacturing capacity, and the narrative made sense when Tesla's margins were very high, but now Tesla's trailing 12-month operating margin has fallen below 10% and is at its lowest level over the 2 years. And the stock price, like Tesla's margins, has also retracted. And in Q4 of 2023, in the investors presentation, Tesla said that in 2024, our vehicle volume growth rate may be notably lower than the growth rate achieved in 2023 as our team works on the launch of its next generation vehicle at the Gigafactory, Texas. And 2023 was easier to stomach because Tesla's volume growth was incredible. But in 2024, it's looking like production growth will stall and margins could fall even further from more price cuts. Which means the saying that we're going to cut our prices more to win the price war happening in China. And it's not just about China, but it's also to stay ahead. And this might hurt Tesla in the short term, but it also hurts its competition because if Tesla is cutting its prices, the other companies are cutting it too. But they don't have the same leverage like Tesla has. Tesla is still profitable and the other companies are barely making any money. And if they cut their prices by 10%, 15%, even further, they're going to be making a loss. And now the question is, for how long do they think it will be worthwhile to take the losses? 2024 is shaping up to be the first year of true decelerated growth since Tesla began mass producing the Model 3. The setup is going to put a lot of pressure on Tesla stock in the short term. And Tesla stock is not a great value right now, and despite the pressure, Tesla's long-term investment thesis remains intact. And the auto industry is cyclical, and juggling factory expansions and new product innovations on top of its inherent cyclicality is no easy task at all. And Tesla's ability to hold down in the face of mounting competition is the truest test over the next few years. And right now, the biggest problem with Tesla is not its slowdown but its valuation. And analyst consensus estimates for 2024 earnings are $3.05 per share and $4.16 per share in 2025. And for context, Tesla earned a record high $4.31 in earnings per diluted share in 2023. So you can see that thing going down. And at a price to earnings ratio of 41, Tesla is priced like a growth stock. It's also worth understanding that the PE is based on Tesla's trailing 12 months of earnings, which is currently its record 2023 earnings. And however, because Tesla's earnings are expected to fall this year, the PE ratio will go up even if the stock price stays the same. And which is why Tesla has a forward PE ratio of 55.7, much higher than its trailing ratio. And that gives Tesla the highest forward PE ratio of the Magnificent 7 stocks, which is even higher than the great performing Nvidia. And